I ended up canceling a luxury resort stay that I had fully paid for because my girlfriend, Inna, decided to take the trip with her friends instead of me. Yeah, you heard that right. Inna and I had been together for about 7 years. We'd been through a lot and I thought we were solid. So, for our anniversary, which also happens to land on her birthday, I planned something special, a romantic getaway to a beautiful resort. I went all in, booked the flights, the hotel, even lined up some exclusive activities for us. This wasn't just another trip. I was going to propose. I was genuinely pumped. Told her about the plan a few weeks ahead, just enough to get her excited, and she seemed thrilled. At least, that's what I thought. But a few days before we were supposed to leave, she started acting off. Distant. Cold. I asked if everything was okay, and she brushed it off with a quick, "I'm fine." I didn't push. Then, on the actual day we were supposed to fly out, I reached out to coordinate. I asked if she wanted me to come pick her up or if she preferred to just meet at the airport. No reply. Not a word. I kept calling. Nothing. Texted her family to check if they'd heard from her. Again, radio silence. I was genuinely worried something bad had happened. I even considered calling the police to report her missing. And then boom. Just a few hours later, I see photos pop up on social media. There she was at the resort I paid for. But not alone. She was smiling, laughing, and posing in pictures with one of her friends and 3 random dudes I'd never seen before. I felt like I got punched in the gut. I tried calling her immediately, but she ignored it. Later that day, she finally messaged me. Her tone was casual, like this wasn't a big deal. She said she was sorry for the silence but needed to unwind with friends and that we could reschedule the trip. I was stunned. I asked her what she was even talking about and who the guys in the photos were. She told me I was being dramatic. That those guys were just some new friends they'd met at the resort. I couldn't believe it. She had hijacked the entire trip I carefully planned and paid for, and now she was partying in the room meant for our anniversary. I asked her point blank why she went without me. Her answer? Because you're not fun. She said she cared about me, maybe even loved me in her own way, but she wanted her birthday to be about freedom and fun, and she didn't think I fit into that picture. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her I'd booked that whole trip with her in mind, using vacation time I only get once a year and money I'd been setting aside for months. It was supposed to be a meaningful experience for both of us. She responded by telling me she couldn't deal with my nagging during the trip and that she'd be blocking me until her stay was over. She said I shouldn't try to contact her again until she decided it was okay. That was it. I snapped. Without a second thought, I canceled everything, the resort, the planned excursions, the spa appointments. Yeah, I lost a bit of the money since she had already checked in, but I managed to get most of it refunded. When she found out, she completely lost it. Called me a selfish jerk who ruined her vacation. Said I was petty, toxic, and that she never wanted to see me again. But when she realized I had also canceled her return ticket home, that tune changed real fast. Suddenly, I was getting messages again. She was apologizing, claiming she'd overreacted, that she regretted how things went down. She asked if I could just reinstate the flight and wait for her so we could talk it all out. I told her no, I didn't want to bother her with my nagging, remember? Then I blocked her. I'm still struggling to wrap my head around the whole thing. I feel completely betrayed. From what I've heard, she's still stranded there, trying to borrow money from her parents for a flight back. I already told them what happened and they're not exactly thrilled with her either. Update 1. Just when I thought the chaos was over, it came back swinging. This morning, just as I was finally settling back into something like normal, there was a knock at the door. Not just a light tap, a solid, deliberate knock. And there she was. Inna. She stood there looking like a mess, part anxious, part hopeful, and honestly, kind of desperate. Seeing her there, I was hit with a whirlwind of emotions, surprise, anger, curiosity, confusion. But I still opened the door. I had to at least hear what she had to say. She didn't waste any time. Her eyes were watery and she immediately launched into this teary apology. She looked worn down and yeah, part of me thought good. You earned that. She admitted she screwed up big time. Said she had taken everything for granted. Being stranded, broke, and abandoned by her so-called friends had supposedly been a wake-up call. She told me her friends turned on her once the luxury dried up. Said they blamed her for ruining their perfect getaway. Even her parents were disappointed in her. And now she was reevaluating what really matters. And apparently that was me. Hearing her pour her heart out stirred something in me. I won't lie. There was still love buried under all that hurt. I wanted to believe it was sincere. I wanted to believe she realized what she'd lost. She even brought up the idea of couples therapy. Promised full transparency. Swore this was a one-time lapse and that she'd never, ever do anything like that again. She was saying all the right things. Pulling every emotional lever she could. After she left, I just stood there for a long time. My place suddenly felt tighter, like the air had thickened. I kept asking myself if maybe, just maybe, I could forgive her. It's tempting, right? To go back to what's familiar. But could I really look past what she did? The rest of the day passed in a blur. I was spinning, bouncing between rage, sadness, and this strange empathy for her situation. I talked to a few close friends about everything. They were stunned, but they gave me honest advice. Protect your peace. Protect your heart. Don't let someone stomp on it twice. Right now, I haven't decided what to do. Ina's staying with her parents and giving me some space. And honestly, I do appreciate that. But at this point, the next move is mine. Right now, I'm weighing all my options. Maybe we sit down in a neutral place and just talk things out. See if there's any clarity to be found. Or maybe it's time to just move forward, close the chapter, and start fresh. Update 2. After my last post, my emotions were all over the place. But the worst part, the thing that sat heavy in my chest, was that deep, sinking feeling of betrayal. No matter what I did, I couldn't shake it. Ina and I ended up meeting face to face, hoping to either find some closure or, if we were lucky, a path back to something that made sense. A small part of me still wanted to believe maybe it was all some kind of misunderstanding. Maybe there was still something left to salvage. But what happened at that cafe crushed any lingering hope I had. She showed up looking completely unlike herself. Normally, she's all energy and confidence. But this time, she looked wrecked, nervous, like someone dragging around the weight of every bad decision they've ever made. The cafe was buzzing. People sipping lattes, chatting, laughing, all totally unaware of the storm that was building at our little table. And then she started talking. Once she opened up, it was like a dam had burst. She didn't just own up to the resort situation. She admitted to cheating on me multiple times during our relationship. Not just once. Not just a moment of weakness. Repeated, deliberate betrayal. Every confession felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just that she had been unfaithful. It was the consistency of it. The lies. The fact that she could look me in the eye for years while hiding that much behind her smile. When I left that cafe, I couldn't feel anything. My mind went blank. It was like the world had slowed down while I was trying to process the weight of it all. I wandered aimlessly through the streets, putting one foot in front of the other, trying to make sense of what just happened. The memories kept flooding back. Vacations, late-night talks, inside jokes. All of it felt corrupted now, tainted by everything I had just learned. Eventually, I reached out to a therapist. That move probably saved me. Sitting in that quiet space, away from the noise, I was finally able to start unpacking the grief. The betrayal, the anger. It was rough. Some sessions left me feeling raw and gutted, but it helped. My friends and family stepped up in ways I didn't expect. They weren't just kind, they were strong when I couldn't be. Their support reminded me that I wasn't completely broken, even if I felt like I was. The more I talked it out, the more I realized this wasn't just about Ina cheating. It was about everything I had put up with. The way I'd let certain behaviors slide. The way I'd avoided conflict just to keep the peace. I had ignored my own discomfort, convinced myself it was normal. That realization hit hard. Since then, I've been taking it one day at a time. Some days feel okay. Others, not so much. There are moments when a memory pops up and the hurt rushes back in, uninvited. But I'm slowly creating distance. Slowly getting my perspective back. I've started going back to the things I used to love. Photography, hiking, getting lost in the woods with nothing but my camera and the sounds of nature. It's been healing. It's helping me reconnect with the parts of myself that I'd forgotten. I don't know exactly what the future holds. And honestly, that's okay. For now, I'm focused on healing. On building a life that feels like mine again. Learning to trust not just other people, but my own instincts. My ability to choose what's right for me. To everyone who's been following this journey, offering support, or just quietly reading along, thank you. It's wild how sharing something so painful with strangers can bring such a strong sense of connection. Your encouragement has meant more than I can explain. I'll keep updating as this road continues through the highs, the stumbles, the rebuilding. Life can knock you flat, but it can also surprise you with second chances and new beginnings. Here's to whatever's waiting on the other side of the storm. Update 3. I found out that one of the guys Ina had been involved with, Landon, was actually married. And that added a whole new layer to the mess. It's one thing to deal with your own heartbreak, but it's something else entirely when you're sitting on a truth that could shatter someone else's world. I didn't know what to do with that information. I kept going back and forth. Would I be doing the right thing by saying something? Or would I just be dragging more people into pain they didn't ask for? I brought it up with my therapist. We really dug into the moral side of it. And in the end, I had to ask myself, if the roles were reversed, would I want to know? Yeah, I would. So I made the decision to tell Landon's wife. Finding her contact wasn't easy. It felt like sneaking through a maze of social connections without setting off alarms. But I eventually managed to get in touch. When we met, it was tense from the get-go. We picked a quiet corner at a small cafe. She was guarded, understandably suspicious, and I was anxious as hell. But I got straight to the point. I laid it all out. Told her what had happened, what I knew, and how long it had been going on. I even brought screenshots proof because I knew words wouldn't be enough in a moment like that. Her reaction? Pure shock. It was like watching someone's whole world tilt sideways. She didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just sat there stunned, the silence between us stretching painfully long. By the end of the conversation, I could see something shift in her. Shock turned into focus. There was a resolve behind her eyes, like she had flipped some internal switch. Later on, she told me she confronted Landon right away. Said it was brutal. Said she was devastated, but grateful to know the truth. And honestly, that conversation, no matter how hard it was, brought something unexpected for me too. Closure. Not in a perfect, clean way. The hurt's still there. But telling the truth, standing up and doing something about it instead of just watching it happen, it gave me back a sense of control. I wasn't just some background character in my own heartbreak anymore. I had made a choice. Taken a step. As for me, I'm still walking forward. Slowly. Steadily. One step at a time. Life didn't slow down just because I was falling apart. The world kept spinning and I had no choice but to keep putting one foot in front of the other. So I did the only thing I could. I kept moving. I found myself returning to the things that once brought me peace, photography especially. There's something oddly grounding about seeing the world through a lens. Framing moments, choosing what to focus on, letting the rest blur into the background, it gave me a sense of control when everything else felt chaotic. And I leaned hard on the people who had my back. My friends and family never wavered. Their support, their advice, even just sitting in silence with me when I couldn't form words, it meant everything. I don't think I'd be standing without them. The road ahead isn't clear. Some days are decent. Others, not so much. There are moments when the betrayal creeps back in like a shadow I can't quite shake, and other times it feels like it happened in someone else's life. I'm learning slowly that healing isn't a straight line. And that's okay. To everyone who's followed this crazy journey, your comments, your messages, your own stories of heartbreak and survival, they've helped me more than I can explain. It's wild how strangers can sometimes feel like the only ones who truly get it. I'll keep sharing as this thing unfolds. Here's to making peace with the mess, to finding light in the wreckage, and to chasing something better, whatever that ends up being. Update 4. Somewhere in the middle of all the chaos, something unexpected started happening. After that first conversation with Rebecca, Landon's wife, the woman Ina had indirectly betrayed alongside me, we stayed in touch. At first it was casual, just a shared misery check-in every now and then. But those quick texts turned into longer talks. Coffee meetups. Late-night phone calls. And those calls slowly shifted from just venting to plotting. What started as a half-joking comment, "we should hit them where it hurts," turned into something more serious. More deliberate. Rebecca, I came to learn, had a sharp mind and a fire in her I hadn't seen before. She was determined to make Landon pay, and she knew exactly where to strike. His wallet. She laid out this plan to quit her job, knowing it would inflate the alimony payout if they divorced. And as she explained it, I could see the intensity in her eyes. She wasn't messing around. Part of me was drawn into that fire. After everything that had happened, it felt good to be doing something, even if it was dark. I mean, when someone sets your life on fire, the idea of lighting a match in return doesn't feel so wrong at first. We started meeting up regularly, usually at this quiet little diner we jokingly referred to as the War Room. Every time she brought more details, more ideas. She'd thought through the legal risks, the timing, even the fallout among their social circle. Watching her talk through it all felt like watching someone plan a battle down to the last move. At first, I tried to be the voice of reason, throwing out questions, raising red flags. But gradually, I got more involved. I started suggesting tweaks, exploring legal angles, even poking holes in her strategy so she could plug them before they became real problems. That's when I started questioning myself. Was I helping her out of genuine care? Or was I projecting my own pain, channeling my resentment toward Ina through Rebecca's crusade? Gnawed at me, lying awake at night. I kept asking myself, what are we really trying to achieve? Justice? Revenge? Or just a way to feel something other than helplessness? The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt. I started to picture the collateral damage. Friends, families, innocent people who might get dragged into the mess. What would it say about me if I helped blow up another person's life in the name of payback? I brought all of it to therapy. Every messy detail. Every emotion I couldn't sort out on my own. My therapist helped me dig beneath the anger, helped me recognize how my thirst for justice was blurring the lines between right and wrong. I even ran the situation past a friend of mine who works in law. Just casually, nothing official. The verdict? If we went through with this, it could backfire in serious ways. Legally, emotionally, socially. And now, I'm standing at a crossroads. The wheels are already in motion, but nothing's locked in yet. I'm torn between being there for someone who's become a friend and pulling the plug before things go too far. To everyone reading, thank you. This story has taken turns I never imagined. And your thoughts, your messages, your presence through it all has helped keep me grounded. This whole thing has forced me to look at not just what was done to me, but who I am in response to it. It's not always black and white. It's a storm of gray. I'll keep you updated as I figure out where this is headed. Hopefully towards something that resembles peace. Update 5. In the middle of all this emotional wreckage, something completely unexpected happened. I met someone new. Let's call her Maya. We met in the most cliché way possible, reaching for the same book at a little local bookstore. Hands touched. A contact. That awkward laugh. It was like something out of a romantic comedy. And just like that, we decided to grab a coffee and keep the conversation going. Turns out, we had more in common than just taste in paperbacks. That first coffee led to more, and before I knew it, I was smiling again. For real this time. After everything with Inna, the idea of dating again felt impossible. Like trying to trust your legs after they've been knocked out from under you. But Maya's different. She has this calming presence. Like warm sunlight after weeks of storm clouds. We've been taking things slow, just learning each other, laughing a lot, talking about everything from childhood memories to failed relationships. She knows about Inna. I didn't hide it. I told her the whole story, and instead of pulling away, she just listened. No judgment, just patience. Being around her doesn't feel like starting over, it feels like starting right. That said, there's still the lingering noise from the past. Inna's life, from what I've heard, hasn't exactly improved since everything unraveled. But honestly, that's not my story anymore. This chapter with Maya it caught everyone off guard when Inna's parents finally decided to kick her out. I mean, these were people who had backed her unconditionally for as long as I could remember, probably too much if we're being honest. But I guess even unconditional support has its limits. Turns out, this whole ordeal was their breaking point. Word got around through mutual friends that she's been having a tough time adjusting. Financially, she's struggling, cut off from the security blanket her parents had always provided. Emotionally, she sounds like a wreck, trying to come to terms with the aftermath of her own choices. And I won't lie, there's a part of me that feels a bit vindicated, like she's finally facing consequences that were long overdue. But there's also this weird flicker of sympathy I can't fully shake. Because no matter what she did, watching someone you once cared about fall apart, that hits different. Working through that kind of emotional whiplash hasn't been easy. I've been doing a lot of soul-searching lately, looking back on how far I've come, the things I've learned, and what I want to carry forward. It's a tricky balance. Acknowledging the pain and betrayal, but not letting it poison you. Therapy's been a lifeline. Having that space to talk it all through without judgment has made a huge difference. It's taught me that empathy and forgiveness aren't just about the other person. They're about healing yourself too. Letting go of the self-blame has been part of that. It's so easy to look back and beat yourself up. To wonder how you missed the signs, what you could have done differently. But I'm learning to release those thoughts. Sometimes, things fall apart and it's not because of anything you did or didn't do. It just happens. Looking ahead, I'm actually excited, especially about what's happening with Maya. Next month, we've got a little weekend getaway planned. Just the two of us in a cabin by the lake. No distractions, no noise. Just time to relax, reconnect, and enjoy each other's company. I haven't looked forward to something like this in a long time. And as for this blog, and all of you who've been following my story, your support has meant the world to me. Your words, your advice, your shared experiences. They've helped me feel seen in ways I didn't expect. Knowing there's a community out there rooting for me, that's powerful. So here's to what's next. To moving forward. To learning from the past without letting it weigh us down. Here's to building something better. I'll keep posting updates as life continues to unfold. Hopefully with more highs than lows. Thanks for walking with me through this journey. Here's to finding happiness in whatever form it comes. And to rolling with life's twists and turns with as much grace and strength as we can manage. Update 6. Maya and I had been getting closer by the day. It honestly felt like we hit fast forward on the best kind of love story. Effortless, deep, and filled with joy I hadn't felt in years. It was like life was finally throwing me a break after everything. Then we got hit with some big news, the kind that stops everything in its tracks. We found out Maya was pregnant. Totally unexpected. It happened on a slow Sunday morning. We were lounging around in our pajamas, sipping coffee, and she mentioned she hadn't been feeling quite right. Half joking, I tossed out the idea of grabbing a pregnancy test. She said, "Yeah, maybe we should." Honestly, I thought we were just being overly cautious. But when that test came back positive, everything changed. Our easygoing morning suddenly became one of those moments you never forget. A swirl of disbelief, joy, shock, and holy crap, this is real. Once the news started to settle, and we moved past the stunned silence and nervous laughter, I knew what I wanted to do next. I wanted to propose. Not just because of the baby, although that definitely made everything feel even more meaningful, but because Maya had been my rock. She showed me what real, steady, honest love could look like. After everything with Inna, this felt like healing, like home. I didn't want a flashy proposal. I wanted something simple and real, something that felt like us. So I cooked her favorite dinner, spaghetti carbonara, and lit up the living room with candles. Played our favorite songs in the background. Just the two of us in our little world. No distractions. No big audience. When I asked her to marry me, her reaction was everything I could have hoped for. She was stunned, laughing and crying all at once. It was the kind of moment that felt too good for words. Just pure, raw happiness. And when she said yes, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like all the heartbreak, all the pain, all the dark moments suddenly made sense. Because they led me to her. If someone had told me a year ago that I'd be engaged and expecting a baby, I would have laughed in disbelief. But life is funny like that. It throws curveballs that end up guiding you right where you're supposed to be. Maya and I are now in full planning mode, both for the wedding and for the arrival of our baby. It's hectic, but in the best way. We're looking at small outdoor venues, maybe something by the beach or in a quiet garden. We want the wedding to feel like a celebration, not just of our love, but of all the people who helped us get here. And the baby prep? That's a whole other adventure. Our weekends are now spent flipping through baby name books, checking out cribs, and dreaming about who this little person is going to be. It's exciting and terrifying all at once, but mostly it's just really, really beautiful. To everyone who's been following along, thank you. Your support through the dark parts of this journey has helped get me to the light. I mean that. This next chapter? It feels like the start of something amazing. I can't wait to share more as Maya and I take on this new life together. Life's unpredictable, but man, sometimes those twists are the very best part. Cheers to new beginnings, to love after loss, and to the little heartbeat that's now part of our story.